the next thing นะครับ okay sorry let me delete this drawing first okay the growth of B2B e-commerce in the US นะครับ you can see that in here the B2B e-commerce in US has been increasing a lot นะครับ why is that because people นะครับ people individually นะครับ even though they want to buy the products online but those companies has to provide their products as well and the more the end customer would like to buy the product the more B2B is growing because those wholesaling นะครับ the company has to buy from another company and in the US when they have like lots of production company นะครับ they need to just like purchase the parts นะครับ or raw materials from other company as well that's why there's a lot of growth in B2B e-commerce นะครับ in the US and in the information here it said that B2B e-commerce in US is about 10 times the size of B2C e-commerce นะครับ because they have like more heavy industries that also export the products and services to other countries around the world as well and in last year นะครับ B2B e-commerce is projected to be $9 trillion นะครับ so in this one you can see that okay the information like this นะครับ make us to know that okay there are also like more way to growth as well นะครับ but you can see that in the US the B2B is more revenue than the one in B2C นะครับ okay the next one นะครับ the next one we talk about the growth of m-commerce นะครับ in the Europe you can see that it's increasing as well นะครับ from 50 billion euros in 2015 to around 120 billion euros in last year นะครับ so it is anticipated that retail e-commerce นะครับ or retail m-commerce will continue to grow at double digits rates over the next 5 years as consumers become more and more accustomed to using mobile devices to purchase products and services นะครับ so this is the opportunity as well นะครับ in order to have e-commerce the next thing นะครับ the next thing for the social e-commerce นะครับ this one as I mentioned earlier it's an e-commerce that enabled by social network and online social relationships นะครับ growth is being driven by a number of factors including social sign-on like when you sign on to websites by using your social network like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter something like that network notification นะครับ the sharing of approval or disapproval of product service and content online collaborative shopping tools social search like from online trusted friends and also increasing prevalence of integrated social commerce tools such as buy buttons นะครับ these are like factors that affect นะครับ or impact the growth of social e-commerce so for the local e-commerce นะครับ that I mentioned before it's a form of e-commerce นะครับ this kind of e-commerce focus on engaging consumer based on current geographic location นะครับ and the local merchants try to use marketing techniques to drive consumers to their stores for example นะครับ Central Department Store in Thailand use the e-commerce that is local e-commerce because normally we purchase นะครับ they aim the customer นะครับ to be the customer in Thailand นะครับ so this is a kind of local e-commerce as well and they try to just like drive consumers to their stores for example I remember that last couple of weeks นะครับ I saw advertisement on TV นะครับ they talk about Central 99 campaign because Central has their its own application นะครับ for shopping so in that one นะครับ Central just like know already that okay normally the customer who purchase the products นะครับ most of them are the people นะครับ who still watch TV let's say than just like using Facebook. So that's why Central Department Store just like promote or advertise a lot on TV นะครับ during the past 2 weeks นะครับ this is a way to drive consumer to their store นะครับ okay so this is the local e-commerce and how do we gonna have just like the sales from local e-commerce. So that means if you have to set up the e-commerce, you have to think about these factors นะครับ whether you would like the e-business or e-commerce to be purchased นะครับ by your local customers or not, or it's a worldwide นะครับ if it's the local นะครับ which country นะครับ you expect for example you want to sell the products นะครับ in Indonesia นะครับ even though you are in Thailand let's say you have to know that okay how do you gonna just like specify the customer นะครับ to purchase the product from you for example language นะครับ might be like one way to just help screening the customer นะครับ for example you may just say that okay you specify 2 language for your website that is Bahasa Indonesia and then English only so that means customer from other countries they know they know immediately that if the default language firstly when you go to that website นะครับ and the URL นะครับ is Indonesia and also the language is Bahasa you know immediately that okay this website they might not supply the product to your country even though you try to force the language to be changed to be English นะครับ but that I mean like you know that okay normally they don't intend to sell people in other countries apart from that one นะครับ another factor or another way that can help screening the customers to be just the local people only is about like the delivery so if you say that okay in the delivery channel you provide the delivery for people in Indonesia only for example you have to specify the postal code and then if you use like postal code in Thailand it does not exist in that system so you cannot order anyway นะครับ like that one so the next thing นะครับ we talk about the relative size of different type of e-commerce in US นะครับ for B2B นะครับ it is around in 2018 นะครับ it's around like $6.7 trillion นะครับ for B2B นะครับ it dwarf all other form of e-commerce นะครับ while mobile social นะครับ and local e-commerce นะครับ although it's growing rapidly but they are still relatively small when you compare with the traditional e-commerce นะครับ okay so these are like relative size for the e-commerce that we have got นะครับ but anyway the mobile e-commerce is just like increasing okay now the next one นะครับ the history นะครับ the brief history of the e-commerce นะครับ I'll start talking from the what to say precursor or before e-commerce time นะครับ so at the very beginning they had Baxter Healthcare modem-based system at that time นะครับ we didn't have the word that was called as e-commerce นะครับ but Baxter Healthcare in America whenever they would like to order the medicine นะครับ from one branch to another branch of the company นะครับ or from the healthcare center นะครับ and the pharmacy นะครับ the way that they had to do is that they had to just like dial นะครับ by using the modem นะครับ to another branch or to their supplier to order the medicine นะครับ at that time we didn't call it as e-commerce yet นะครับ but it's the precursor of e-commerce you can see just like the way that they just like request or the way that they order the products or services from another person by using the online way. At that time, they had the order entry systems in some countries as well. When they would like to order the products or services, instead of writing a letter or typing the letter through the typewriters and send the telex to another company, they started having just the online one. For example, suppose you would like to ship the product from Australia to Thailand. Long time ago, before we had this kind of system, you had to just type the products. You had to declare the products that you are delivering from Australia to Thailand in the paper, and those paper came with the ship. So when it's arrived the port, the officer has to just like take a look and investigate, and then open up the container to see what's inside. Is it the same as what they declare or not? At that time, it took a lot of time. It took a lot of time in order to just like check and investigate it. But when we had like the system that the port in Australia just like send the information to port in Thailand, let's say in Bangkok, they just send it electronically, and then in Thailand they know ahead that, okay, let's say in another 15 days the ship from Australia, from Sydney, will arrive Bangkok port. So the things that the officer in the port of Thailand will do is that they just like prepare that, okay, which bay that the ship would be stopped by, and who will be the responsible person to investigate for this kind of products. Suppose Australia say that they will send some chemical products to Bangkok port, let's say. One officer in the port of Thailand, they may not have any just like expertise in checking the chemical products. They may say that, okay, another person from who is the officer from the port of Thailand will be responsible for this instead. Okay, so they will allocate the people to just like do the checking and investigating the product quicker than just like waiting until the product and the ship arrive the port. Okay, so anyway, different countries had different standards of the data to be sent. So that's why they need to have the EDI standard. At the time, more than 30 years ago, EDI standard, or electronic data interchange standard, it was the standard that set up and agree upon different parties for the information that will be sent from one place to another place. For example, if we say that Australia to Thailand, when they send the data, they needed to have, like, let's say, the name of the sender, name of recipients, products declared, date, and then some tariff and so on, something like that. While from the US to Thailand, they may just like have different pieces of data to be sent and to be received. So that means it was the trouble for the officers at that time, because when the data was sent in different formats, they don't know which one is missing. Sometimes that information is not missing, but it's just like put somewhere in that form, but in the lower part, something like that. If I want to compare EDI standards with the nowadays technology, it's XML. It's the same thing, because actually you can send anything, but actually it's put in the field already. So that means on the destination, if you would like to just like use that information again, you just refer to the field name, and then you can use that piece of information. But in the past, we didn't have the idea to call like an XML. At the time, it was just an EDI standards only. And the next example was French Minitel. That one was video text system นะครับ that combine a telephone with 8-inch screen nowadays นะครับ video screen นะครับ video call นะครับ is not the new thing anymore but at that time นะครับ people นะครับ was so surprised นะครับ with this technology I remember that okay I went to see one of my doctor in Thailand นะครับ in Bangkok around like 20 years ago almost 20 years ago his phone นะครับ his home phone he had just like the phone with the screen นะครับ and but at that time it was black and white screen only I thought that oh it's surprising because we will see each other I think more than 20 years almost 30 years okay surprising because we could see each other นะครับ when we just like talk over the phone but I think that at that time นะครับ 30 years ago how many people will have that kind of handset the home phone like that so that means I asked the doctor that okay do you use this phone video features frequently he said that not really because none of my families and friends have got this kind of phone so I don't know who to make a video phone with something like that นะครับ but in around the world at that time นะครับ more than 3 million had been deployed and more than 13,000 different services available using this kind of the French Minitel including ticket agencies travel services retail products and online banking นะครับ but anyway it continued in existence until the end of 2006 when it was finally discontinued by its owner France Telecom because since then นะครับ since 2006 we started having the video call on computer already นะครับ so at that time people don't use the phone call anymore to have the video um, um, communication because if you would like to make a phone call overseas นะครับ the quality of the video was not good and the price was so expensive when you compare with using the video call by using a computer นะครับ that's why they just like stop their service since then after that นะครับ we talk about the 1995 to 2000 invention ครับthere were sales of simple retail goods นะครับ sale of simple retail goods what is that ครับ let's think about 7-Eleven right now นะครับ at the cashier you see that there is a computer-like screen นะครับ with the drawer นะครับ with the money inside that one นะครับ is a kind of sales of simple retail goods in the past before we had the e-commerce they just like use that kind of sale of simple retail goods in order to store the information นะครับ of the products that they sold in each day the center นะครับ or the headquarters collect this information in the database and they had to run the programs in order to just like generate for the stock that they have got or the products that they have to reorder and then the purchasing people in the headquarters will order the products นะครับ compared to nowadays we don't need to do so the machine นะครับ instead of calling as sales of simple retail goods we call it as what to say point of sale นะครับ point of sale machine the point of sale machine is the one that in 7-Eleven right now once you just like scan the barcode of the product that customer purchase it just calculate the stock and reorder the stock for you automatically via online so that means they connect as the B2B the suppliers will acknowledge this order and at night time นะครับ they just like compile all the stocks นะครับ in the truck and then come to deliver at 7-Eleven branch นะครับ okay, that is the history of the sales of simple retail goods and limited bandwidth and media. At that time we had a problem นะครับ in order to just like send and receive the data, just the text was okay นะครับ but actually everybody would like to just like transfer the data, not just the text. They want the video, they want the picture นะครับ they want the voice, but due to the limited bandwidth and media we couldn't do at that time นะครับ before year 2000, and it was euphoric vision of friction-free commerce นะครับ that was a vision of commerce in which information is equally distributed, transaction costs are low, prices can be dynamically adjusted to reflect actual demand, intermediaries decline, and unfair competitive advantage are eliminated. That was euphoric version นะครับ long time ago, but right now everything is just like as they want to have นะครับ as people want to have, because information is equally distributed. Yes, transaction costs are low. Yes, price is dynamic นะครับ adjusted to reflect actual demand. Yes นะครับ intermediary declines. Yes นะครับ and we have the fair competitive advantage นะครับ something like that, and fast mover advantages. So right now everything become true นะครับ and during 2000 นะครับ it was the dot-com crash. Dot-com crash, what does it mean? Around the year 2000, or just like maybe 1 or 2 years after year 2000, at that time when ICANN นะครับ ICANN is the institution that set up the standard for the internet connection นะครับ they set up one .com นะครับ they set up the .com, and lots of people, lots of the company นะครับ try to have the website ended with .com นะครับ because actually first time นะครับ that when .com was invented นะครับ ICANN would like to let people to use .com for the commercial website in US only นะครับ but anyway any kind of companies, any kind of business, or sometimes individual person book for the .com, so that's why it was crash around year 2000 นะครับ, because when people see the URL that is ended with the .com, it does not reflect that it is the e-business นะครับ or the commercial company นะครับ during that time. So นะครับ for the invention during 95 to 2000 นะครับ, internet and digital market have changed the way companies conduct their business นะครับ. let's imagine it's quite similar to what we have social network, and social network become the channel where people can just like share their information, share their video clips that they took somewhere, the people, or sorry, somebody drive the car badly, somebody just like cheating, something like that. So this one is similar นะครับ but it's long time ago. Internet and digital markets at that time นะครับ the companies that we haven't heard before นะครับ they happened because of what? Actually they exist, but they exist in other countries นะครับ but at that time when we had the internet, we can just like go to the websites นะครับ that we haven't heard before. For example, suppose you have a person นะครับ who introduce themselves that they are the companies in China, let's say they're the company in China. No, not China. Let's see what else. In Germany, let's say in Germany, they fly to Thailand and give you the business card. You see their websites, and then you just like enter the URL of their website of their company นะครับ in the browser at that time. Then you can see like what they sell, that they didn't carry their products into Thailand, but they just tell you that what they sell, something like that นะครับ. So this one changed the way that companies conduct their business. They can have like more customers, more prospective customer, or more network around the world. Information asymmetry was reduced refer to any disparity irrelevant to market information among parties in a transaction, and it's nearly perfect to competitive market นะครับ to perfect competitive market where the price, cost and quality นะครับ information are equally distributed นะครับ because everyone นะครับ can access to the information นะครับ on the internet, so that's why it's information asymmetry reduced. Menu cost, search and transaction costs reduce as well because you don't need to print anymore. At that time, we still printed, but I mean, like, for people or your prospective customers who are overseas, instead of just like printing lots of brochures and menu and then just distribute and then just like dispatch or ship those menus, those catalog to overseas, you may ask them to check on the internet as well on your website นะครับ so national or regional prices in traditional retailing that are called as menu costs, that one national price was the norm นะครับ merchants know much more about their consumers and are able to use this information more effectively than ever true in the past, because at that time, even though we had just like web 1.0, but the customer can also send them the email นะครับ to give the feedback to their sellers at that time as well นะครับ even though it's not just like the interactive or real-time one like we have got right now นะครับ and it is possible for merchants to know more about other merchants than was ever true in the past, because นะครับ one company can search and can browse the website of another company who is a competitor as well นะครับ because of the invention of the internet at that time. And apart from that one นะครับ apart from that one, for merchant and producers นะครับ in terms of friction-free commerce นะครับ because they had direct access to hundreds of millions of customers around the world due to the internet era นะครับ at that time. The cost of searching for customer would also fall, reducing the needs of wasteful advertising. So that means the merchant could target นะครับ to their customer more than just like wasting their advertising costs to like the channels that they thought that the customer นะครับ would be interested in นะครับ because if that person was interested in your products or services, they went to your website and contact to you directly นะครับ okay, the cost hang on, advertisement could be personalized to the need of every customer นะครับ so at that time when the customer purchased something one time or search for something นะครับ in the past we didn't have the privacy law enact around the world, so the seller could collect all the information and then just like analyze the requirement of the consumer to purchase the to offer the products or services นะครับ okay, so the next one นะครับ producers could dynamically price for their products to reflect the actual demand, produce more if there are more demand นะครับ produce less and switch to another model if the demand is low นะครับ so the price นะครับ can be dynamically adjusted นะครับ okay, and the next one it's the ending of the idea of one national price นะครับ customer in different area you can just like sell them in different price as well ครับ or one suggested manufacturer's list price. For example, if we are talking about the brand name นะครับ the super brand name products, in the past I remember that the price of the same handbag, for example, if we are talking about Louis Vuitton, I remember around year like late 90s, at that time, if you purchase Louis Vuitton from Singapore, from US, from Thailand, the price were almost the same. The difference was about the exchange rate, just that. But after that, you don't need to do so because different countries, you can just like use demand and supply of that country to set the price. The resulting intense competition, allow for price discrimination, selling same goods or nearly same good to different targeted group of at different price. Yeah, that is price discrimination. Next, the reselling intense competition. The decline of intermediaries, lower transaction costs would eliminate product brands, and along with this, the possibility of monopoly profits based on brands, geography, or special access to factors of production. So for competition at that time, since then, there were decline of intermediaries. Intermediaries means the middleman. In the past, when you would like to buy any products from overseas, you had to buy from middleman that might be the distributor of that product in your country. But since we have the internet at that time, you could contact the manufacturer directly to purchase the products or services, even though they are from overseas, but they can ship for you. Okay, you can be your own intermediaries, let's say. The next one, prices covered cost of production plus a fair market rate, or of return on capital, plus additional small payments for entrepreneurial effort that would not last long. So this one, it means that, okay, for the price of everything, it will be fairer than in the past, because every single value or every single cost that you charge the customer will be reflected directly on the internet, because the customer will know that, okay, when you charge this price, where is it from, something like that. And the next one is for unfair competitive advantage, which occur once when competitor has an advantage over others cannot purchase, would be reduced, because customer can access to every of the seller's website, and then they can compare, they can contact immediately. So unfair competitive advantage should be reduced. The next one, for real world entrepreneurs. E-commerce market space represent access to millions of consumers worldwide who use internet, and a set of marketing communication technologies like email and web pages that was universal, inexpensive, and powerful. So that means anyone who could access to the internet can access the e-commerce market space. So the e-commerce market space means the place where we can purchase the products and services. It becomes universal. That means anyone who can access to the internet can do the same thing, like that, inexpensively, because when you have like many markets, the way that the customer would like to use the market must be free. For example, when you go to eBay, eBay was like invented long time ago. If you are a buyer, you don't have to pay anything, in order to be a member of eBay at that time, or Amazon.com as well. Buyer doesn't need to pay for anything. But like when you buy any products, you just pay that product price, just that. It allows better segmentation, targeting, and positioning. You target to the correct group of customer that you want to sell the products to. You can segment your product as well, that, okay, the product will be segmented according to the geographical area, or depends on the age of people, something like that. It has better segmentation. And also, the extraordinary profit would go to first mover. So if you start first, you are first mover, those firms who were first to market in a particular area and who move quickly to gather market share will have the benefit from the internet, the e-commerce at that time. นะครับ so the same thing as like if you remember นะครับ for what to say Alibaba and AliExpress นะครับ they are just like first mover for the China market and the market around the world, because you can see that most of us know that okay, most of the products around the world นะครับ they manufacture from China. So some of the products, the company who owns that product, they control the quality. So for example, if we are talking about, let's say iPhone or MacBook, so it means that China, they cannot sell those products by themselves. They have to use like Apple to just like do the marketing and sell those products. They just like produce for Apple only. But for other products that don't have the brand, for example, if you are talking about, let's say USB hub, or if you are talking about like charging cable for iPhone, let's say, so the company who produce is in China. They can sell the products to the customer around the world. But how can they do that? Just use AliExpress channel. So when AliExpress start นะครับ other companies who start after AliExpress, they can sell the product as well, but for the market share, AliExpress can get better นะครับ same as eBay or Amazon. There are like many competitors as well, but these two companies are like still having the large market share นะครับ in the total market around the world. Inhibit competitors or new entrants by building switching costs for their customer through proprietary interface design and features available only at one site. The idea for entrepreneurs was to create near monopolies online based on size, convenience, selection, and brand. For example, in this one, in order to inhibit the competitors, you may offer, even though the retail price is the same, but you may have like some campaign or some promotion. For example, if you buy from our company, you get the coupons นะครับ that is like the sales or the deduction นะครับ or rebate from your website if the customer purchase from you. That one they try to inhibit the competitors as well นะครับ because even though the retail price are the same, but you can have the switching cost so that customer can come to be your customer นะครับ for example, you can see that for what to say smartphone right now, you can buy from MBK right now. I think your generation might not know about MBK much because it has been closing for a couple of years from COVID-19. But in the past, when anyone would like to buy a new mobile phone, they bought from they went to MBK to have a shopping and buy from that place. But right now you can see that many people switch from buying from that retail shops to buy from mobile phone operators. Because of what? Those mobile phone operators, they build a switching cost. They just like pay for their customer. For example, they may say that, okay, if you buy the mobile phone from us, first, the price is cheaper because they may just like they buy from Apple or Samsung in big lots, then they can ask for some discount. Apart from that one, customer can use the mobile phone by having what to say free phone call for 200 minutes per month, 20 gigabytes of the full speed internet 4G per month, free access to AS Play นะครับ that has the digital content นะครับ 12 months, but you have to be in contract with us for 12 months as well. That is switching costs. This one is trying to inhibit the competitors or new entrants to the same market. Next, creating a network effect that occurs where users receive value นะครับ from the fact that everyone else use the same tool or product นะครับ so that means when you just like use the internet นะครับ in order to buy and to sell the products นะครับ since that time 95 to 2000 the network effect help to reduce นะครับ the cost help to make the supply นะครับ to be done faster to be more effective นะครับ everyone use the same channel I mean like everyone can just like create their own network as well but it depends on how well you can do that นะครับ okay I'll talk about in detail when we go to that chapter that module นะครับ emphasis was on disrupting of the traditional distribution channels and disintermediating existing channel and use the new pure online companies who aim to achieve impregnable first mover advantages this one นะครับ they try to just like you can see that some of the companies that they set up they are just like pure e-business นะครับ or pure e-commerce company they may not have the store the physical store before for example if we are talking about Lazada or Shopee they don't have that physical store นะครับ this one it's disrupting of this traditional distribution channel customer when they want to get the products they can use the delivery service they don't need to go to that shopping center anymore นะครับ this is the way that disrupt the traditional distribution channel and this one นะครับ for consumers the search costs นะครับ that you use to search for the price product description payment settlement or order fulfillment would all fall there drastically นะครับ because you just like have just one click to search that's it prices and even costs would be increasing transparent to the consumer นะครับ who could know exactly and instantly the worldwide best price quality and availability of most product reduce information asymmetry so it means that when you go to this website and you think that it's not cheap enough you can go to another website and then compare the price immediately you can buy from any online store that is cheaper something like that นะครับ compare in the past you had to just like let's say drive to that shopping center and see for example if you go to if you go to the mall Bangkok นะครับ that is nearest to our not nearest now central we go to central Salaya let's say to buy a pair of sneakers you say that okay the price is 5,000 let's say and if you think that 5,000 can we find any store that is cheaper than this in the past you had to drive to the mall and I'm sure that okay let's say 10-15 years ago when we didn't have the mall Bangkok my students had to go to Siam Square at that time and when you go to Siam Square already you think that I don't want to find anymore it wastes a lot of my time and finally you may ended up with buying the pair of shoes from Siam Square that might be more expensive than other places but it wastes a lot of time to just like search for the cheapest one นะครับ and for distributors and wholesalers this intermediation means that you remove or eliminate middleman who traditionally are intermediaries นะครับ between producers and consumers นะครับ so that means the company can purchase the product directly นะครับ from the manufacturer นะครับ so it has the new direct relationship between producers and consumers นะครับ okay okay then นะครับ so this one belong okay, let me just like finish this part นะครับ before we finish the class today นะครับ just one belong Okay, now we come to the last slide นะครับ for today hang on Okay, the last slide is like this นะครับ Okay, this is the benefit of this intermediation of the consumer. In the past นะครับ if you would like to buy a sweater นะครับ assume that the price was 48.50 นะครับ because you had to pay from manufacturer นะครับ you had to pay for distributor and retailer that they mark up the price for you นะครับ when the times goes by นะครับ manufacturer try to eliminate the distributor or its middleman นะครับ you buy from retailer the price นะครับ from 48.50 is dropped to 40.34 นะครับ and now if it can be the this intermediary or this intermediation the customer can purchase directly from the manufacturer the price was decreased more than half in order to buy a sweater it might be just like 20.45 something like that so that's why this one it's the benefit of this intermediation it's good for the customer right okay that is all for the lecture for today นะครับ the thing that we will do on the next class okay before we finish this one okay up to this point do you have any questions